This is a 1v1 theta between Tag Rock and Brain Steel. Probably one of the toughest matches ever played in Supreme Commander. It's very competitive. I'll play this at +1, try to catch as much as I can. So we see the build order for theta. We see 2 P-gens, Mass Extractor going to the middle, going second air, first ground for Brain Steel. Tag Rock, one of the greatest players in RTS. 2 P-gens, Mass Extractor going out first, Land Scout. Trying to find out what Brain Steel is doing as soon as he can. And also going to the Hydro. See first NG for Brain Steel. No scouts yet, second NG as well. You can see the micro, the NGs moving them in position before they even come out of the factory. Small things. It looks like before he gets to Air Factory he's going to get 3 P-gens. He's going to have a Hydro and 5 P-gens. It's very heavy on power early on. You can see the scout from Tag Rock getting real close. Early, if he can avoid the ACU, he's got nothing to worry about. We see 4 first NGs. No scouts, no rating from Brain Steel. And now we see the scout trying to find out what Brain Steel's doing, and now finally we see a scout, a 5th unit out of the factory for Brain Steel. You can see an energy getting some of these rocks for early eco, and a scout versus scout fight. I would see very different for Rock. He only has 2 NGs out so far and much less power. He's still working on his Hydro, but he does have a team of Mech Marines coming out. He's going to try to stop expansions. And actually 2 teams of Mech Marines supported by some scouts. So look at the plan. You can see a tank from Brain Steel that might see very aggressive from these. He's looking for NGs which are not coming out. So one expensive NG that came from Brain Steel went to the side. You see some Mech Marines go in this direction. Now we see the fight between some Mech Marines and a tank. And now we see the ACU moves in, cleans this up. So now we see after the first air, now he's got some interceptors. Brain Steel is going to make some factories. Rock's also working on his 3rd factory. This is minute 3. And he hasn't been expanding at all so far. You probably expect a little more rating from Brain Steel. Now we do see this fight. Mech Marines versus a tank. It's going to be extremely close, and just barely. It's a 4-kill tank for Brain Steel. And now see the interceptor going to patrol over Brain Steel's base. That was exactly what Tag Rock is doing. See the next unit from the Air Factory is a transport, so we gotta expect some ghetto gunships. Brain Steel getting an upgrade. Interesting to see Brain Steel playing with just 2 factories, 1 land and 1 air. And Rock's already working on his 4th. Rock is making some flak. At this point he doesn't have any plans for making any air factories yet. So he's going very low in power. Just going to go with ground. The first ghetto from Brain Steel is about to be assembled. So it's 6 Mech Marines in a transport, one they can shoot down. You can see Brain Steel's ACU. It looks like the upgrade that he got was probably something in his back, like a drone. An NG drone. That's exactly what we see. This is very rare to see this in this game. This feels like total annihilation suddenly. And now we see this ghetto gunship's going to do some raiding, but it's already going to run into some flak. So a lot more ground for Tag Rock. And now we see flak versus tanks. Brain Steel is being very good with the few units that he has. But Rock is now going to take over the bottom part of the map. And we see the ghetto actually going quite low in health. Ran into a lot of flak and just gets taken out. That's a big loss. And now Brain Steel finally decided to make a little more ground. He's working on his 4th land factory. You already see the 5th and the 6th from Tag Rock, and also Brain Steel's making some plans for a base up on the top ledge here. And a 2nd ghetto cleans up the bottom part of Brain Steel. So both players denying the other a lot of the mass extractors. Although we see these three, actually 5 mass extractors from Brainsteel here, completely unprotected and still alive. Rock might think about going and killing those. And you can see actually the army from Rock here is half flak, half land. It's very effective. These ghettos really have changed the style of play, the unit composition in Rock's armies. You can see some NGs here. Actually, these are the drones they're going to start capturing. This is what happens when you don't have air. So we see some stationary air but no planes. These drones can basically go wherever they want. So now as soon as Brainsteel lost a few of these mass points, he should have a slight disadvantage in terms of economy. Now he's got his ACU out. It looks like the map is cut in half in this direction, except Brainsteel has a small base that's going to get destroyed. Now these drones right here are doing very good jobs. They already captured 2 of these mass extractors. They're going to keep capturing more. Now small fights that Brainsteel is going to take on the bottom. Some more mass to reclaim from, and a tank that's going to try to take out a mass extractor. Now this factory gets destroyed, and actually an NG already getting the mass. Some more raiding. Now we might see the ACUs meet each other. Brainsteel thinking about a T1 PD. And Rock, after cleaning up the top part, still having to capture back his mass extractors, is going to move down and might do a full assault on Brainsteel's base. Tagrock reclaiming Brainsteel's factories. Brainsteel not fighting at all. Now he's going to come back with a few units. Leading with the units, this could be a nice way to vet up for Tagrock. But there's definitely no problems with him. He has plenty of units in the area. Brainsteel pulls back. So now we see 2 different fights in this map. One involving ACUs, and one with just tanks with very even numbers. We see a very big difference in game style, however, with the Brainsteel having some air. Now we see this tank still alive, some raiding tanks. If you can take out this engine, it's a very successful one. And now we're seeing a ground fight. Brainsteel rushing in, but you can see the firepower, local firepower higher for Tagrock, and he's going to be able to win this fight. Of course, the ghetto comes in. He's going to try to shift the balance a little bit. Basically a unit that cannot be shot unless there's some flak, and there is a little flak. And elsewhere we see also a very even fight between the ACUs. Tagrock sitting at 14 kills, Brainsteel at 11, so very even. However, on this side it's a very bad situation for Brainsteel, and now his ghetto gets taken out by some flak. Brainsteel pulling more units back toward his base, and his ACU has to retreat. You can see in minute 10 it seems like Rock is getting a slight advantage. And this tank from Rock is very effective. Took out a mass extractor and an NG. He's going to get a couple more mass extractors. And now it looks like T2 is planned for Brainsteel. T2 air. And now Brainsteel's going to get some T1 PD, support his ACU. We see absolutely no arty from Tagrock up to this point in the game. So if he doesn't see any T1 PD, he does not build arty, it's all tanks. And flak, of course. For Brainsteel, he's made enough mech marines here for a T2 ghetto. It looks like he's going to make some T2 transports. In terms of ground, it's not clear why Tagrock isn't just taking over this base. He definitely has numbers, or at least raiding. He can avoid the ACU for now, but use his ACU and just push forward. He does have a pretty good map control. He has a few more mass spots, and he's got a lot of mass to reclaim. So if we look at reclamation, minute 12, almost 3,000 for Tagrock. Brainsteel at 2,000. Actually, Brainsteel having some power problems, which is not surprising given that he's making T2 air. And now he's going to assemble a T2 ghetto. That's a very powerful weapon. Looks like it's 14 mech marines shooting down. Brainsteel getting an upgrade, most likely T2. Rock also getting an upgrade and using an edgy to assist. Otherwise it's a pretty big stalemate. Now we see Rock actually made some arty. Now he's going to start taking out. It would be nice to see this arty actually shooting the ACU directly, since the ACU is upgrading. Can't move. But Rock pulls back, and now we see the ghetto come into play. First one. This is a very powerful weapon, as long as he can stay away from flak. You can look at this from the bottom, a lot of firepower. So he's just going to wipe out T1 armies. And T2 ACU for Brainsteel is going to do a T2 PD creep. We see that Rock had the gun upgrade. And now the ghetto goes directly above Rock's base simultaneously as Brainsteel attacks on the ground. He does not have the numbers, but he forces Tagrock back, and now we see this ghetto wiping out a mass extractor. There's a lot of flak being produced by Rock. Ghetto goes down pretty low in health. And now we see the T2 ACU versus ACU with a gun. Rock being very aggressive, just shooting the ACU. He's got to worry about that T2 PD. We're going to see a second one very soon. And this, now we see multiple. This is now 2 ghettos wiping out PDs. They're going to wipe out a lot of the economy for Rock. Now Rock pushing in some of his T1 units toward the T2 PD and some T1 PD. This could be very bad. He is trying to go after the ACU, but this T1 PD is going to get a lot of kills. It's actually going after the ACU. So the fight has been completely abandoned on the left side, and all forces have been shifted toward the ACU, and this PD is sitting at 9 kills now, 10 kills, 11. The ghettos are just cleaning up. So Brainsteel successfully pushes back Rock's attack. Should have been more careful with that PD, of course. Still a very small fight here that Brainsteel is going to take, and it's going to be a lot of mastery claim. Tagrock sitting at 29 kills. Still has a force. Now it looks like Tagrock is moving across the mountain toward Brainsteel's base, and Brainsteel is making T2 PD. Brainsteel expecting another wave of attacks. Let's see these 2 ghettos just wiping out this army as it comes in. A lot of flak being produced by Rock. Probably more than half his units are flak. You can see it's produced 27 flak. Now Brainsteel's going to get a lot of this mass. He's going to get a factory, get some NGs. He got a few T2 PD. So if you look at this, all this area now belongs to Brainsteel until Tagrock gets some T2. And now Rock is moving in on Brainsteel's base. Not too much defense. He's got 4 ghettos now. One of them is pretty badly injured. And some raiding tanks from Brainsteel. There's only flak here, so nothing against tanks. We also got these ghettos. I'm going to go in for another round of raiding. Rock moving in on Brainsteel's base. Brainsteel just getting a radar. He's thinking about what's happening. Given that he has so much air, he should know. But this army right here is about half flak, half tank. Of course, there is an ACU with 41 kills and gun moving in on the base. T1 PDs is really what is necessary. And the Brainsteel looks like he's doing T2 PD creep onto Rock's base. And now you can see what Brainsteel is thinking. He sees Tagrock's ACU about halfway on health, about 10k health. He's going to load up his ghettos and try to go for a kill on this ACU. Of course, Rock has a whole bunch of flak here. 20 something flak. You can see Rock's ACU going down in health, about 1k health, about 500. Now he's at 200 health when all 4 ghettos are killed. This is extremely close. and then Rock gets 60 kills and gets some more health. So very timely vet for Tag Rock. That was a nice attempt. And now you can see actually a single mech marine and a T2 gunship. Brainsteel was hoping that Tag Rock was still at 200 health. And that looks like bad news for Brainsteel's base. Rock's got a bunch of tanks, ACU, a whole bunch of flak. Is going to take out this T2 factory. Really nothing to defend with here. However, on the other side, you do see Brainsteel pushing in with T2 PD against Rock's base. And actually, Rock doesn't have too much against T2 PD. There's nothing he can build here. He's got no T2 technology. So these PDs, just with range, will wipe everything out. You can see as this is happening, there's a lot of energies from Tag Rock moving in. They're going to get some more factories. They're going to get some more power. It's the main thing that happens when you lose your base. You lose all your power. You can see that Brainsteel is also doing that. He's rebuilding his power in this corner. It's a very well defended corner for him. He's got a lot of PD in this area. You see nothing being produced. This is going to be a nice chunk of mass for Tag Rock. And now Brainsteel walks in directly in the middle of Rock's base. He's going to build a T1 PD. He's going to have a lot of firepower locally here. He's going to wipe out all these factories. We see Brainsteel sitting at 18 kills, Rock at 77, and Rock is going to keep on moving through. You should get some NGs in this area, reclaim this base, and get a lot of mass. We still see that he has one ghetto, taking out some tanks. And we'll see a very small skirmish on top, 2 tanks versus 3. One of these tanks is a vet, however, but no micro, so 2 versus 3 win. Yeah, it looks like Brainsteel is finishing off Rock's original base, but Rock's making a second one somewhere in the middle. You might see an NG fight here. It's a very interesting PD being built by Brainsteel in the vicinity of this new factory from Rock. Rock tries to reclaim these NGs before, but not in time. So Brainsteel takes over another factory that Rock used to have. So Rock has really got to be thinking about making a new base. He was the first to destroy Brainsteel's base. It was very close, but he started making a new one kind of late, and Brainsteel already had the workings of a base a long time ago. He's got a lot of T2 PD in this area. This is all Brainsteel's territory. And as you got very quick NGs taking over Rock's old mass spots, and now this could be a capture. That was an attempt to capture this factory from Brainsteel, but Artie is successfully created, and it's going to take out these NGs. Actually, it was a successful capture, but now it's an Artie. It's going to get free shots. Still see a lot of flak in Rock's armies, and more plans for T1 factories from Tag Rock. See an ACU versus ACU fight, 87 kills for Rock with gun, Brainsteel at 22 kills, but he's got T2 engineering. So a little more health for Brainsteel, but longer range, firepower for Tag Rock. Brainsteel, all he has to do is just walk into the vicinity of his T2 PD, and he's going to be safe. So you can see at the minute 22, the two players have basically exchanged spots on the map. If we look at Brainsteel, he's got 9,000 reclaimed. Rock's got 5,500. It's a pretty big advantage in that case for we actually see a new ghetto. This is the one that was built by this T2 factory, which is now dead. There's really a lot of mass for Tag Rock here, a lot more wreckage. If he can get power up quick, he can produce a lot of units very fast. Now we actually see first interceptor for Tag Rock. And we're going to see some interesting micro. This T2 transport actually does have some anti-air capability. You can see it's moving back and forth, trying to dodge this plane. Drops off its cargo and keeps killing planes. It's already at 9 kills. Now Rock's looking in to kill a few of these mech marines. One shot, one kill. Surprising we're not seeing Rock being more aggressive in reclaiming. He does have quite a few factories in the area. If we look at his power, he's got plenty of power. We do see some raiders from Brainsteel is taking out a few mass extractors. And now Rock being aggressive on the top. He's trying to move in, take his base back. And in terms of map control, it looks like once again Tag Rock's got a little bit of an advantage. Of course, we do have to remember there's a bunch of T2 PD that's protecting Brainsteel's main base. These raiders are actually doing quite well for Brainsteel. Tag Rock, supported by a whole bunch of flak, is going to retreat, sitting at 100 kills. Now Brainsteel also has the gun now, so an ACU with engineering and gun. If we look at reclamation, 10,000 for Brainsteel and 7,000 for Rock. So Rock getting about 2,000 mass in a very short amount of time. He can get a lot more. Should see more plans for factories, maybe some T2. Now it's just basically an ACU fight in the middle. Not too much of an army for Brainsteel in the area where the fight's taking place. This is actually interesting. A whole bunch of tanks, and this Artie can get a lot of kills if it can hit these tanks that are so close together. However, it doesn't look like it's shooting. And now he gets taken out. We're going to see a further T2 creep, so Brainsteel is going to keep pushing with T2 in this direction. If he can cut the map in half with his T2, basically the only thing to do for Tag Rock would be to get his own T2 tech, which he should be able to do quite easily given the economy. No, just T1. We do not see any T2 factories yet. We see looks like Tag Rock is going with a T2 air. Might see some entries from that factory. Now we see Rock actually moving in against some T2 PD. See overcharge, Brainsteel and getting a couple more. It appears that Rock might have a little bit of numbers, but he has a lot of flak in his army. But he can push, maybe go around this. Yeah, that's what he's thinking. If he can cut the corner and go around these PDs, and Brainsteel is going to try to get more PDs in this area to cut off this passageway. And you can see these PDs getting kills. So Tag Rock does have a little bit of an advantage in terms of mass extractors. And there is a standoff through this lower passageway. Both players have blocked off the middle passageway with some dragon teeth. And multiple T2 PD for Brainsteel in the center of the map. And it looks like Tag Rock was thinking about turning the corner, but just not enough units. Brainsteel response is just going to decimate this army. And now we see some T2 PD from see a bunch of T2 NGs from Rock. So you're going to see a T2 PD standoff in the middle. And it looks like Rock is going to move up. Amazing, there's still all this wreckage all over the map. We're seeing some T2 bombers, some Janus. Very good against large groups of units. However, we do see a lot of T1 interceptors from Brainsteel. At least more than what Tag Rock has. Our Rock's moving. Now he's moving back. It looks like there's going to be a T2 PD creep. One in this direction and one in this direction, and they're going to meet somewhere in this area. And I actually see a few of these PDs beginning to hit Tag Rock's armies. And now we see NGs from Brainsteel are breaking down this barrier, so you have another passageway to attack. And that might cause problems for Rock. I would see a shield being constructed by Brainsteel. So early on it looks like Brainsteel has a little more success with this PD exchange. And now an army, now we see T2 bombers from Rock going directly after the ACU. And Rock moving forward. And a pretty large force from Brainsteel is going to attack directly against Rock's new base. There's an engine trying to make a wall, but it's going to be too late. Now Brainsteel is still making T1 PD. Looks like these bombers are used against this T2 PDs. That'll allow Rock to make his own. Rock goes actually down to 3k health. Successful air attack by Rock to take the middle, but while he was doing that, he lost a lot of his army. We see some T2 mass extractors that Rock invested in left undefended that Brainsteel is about to kill. So really good play from Brainsteel, losing one battle in the middle but taking advantage. Now this part of the map we see T2 gunships from Tag Rock, but they are going to be countered by a lot of T1 flak here. Actually, there isn't too much T1 flak, and now one of the gunships was destroyed. See a lot of focus on this T2 factory from Tag Rock. He's making T2 gunships. So as long as the army running through your base isn't killing anything and just dying, it's actually a good thing. They're just leaving you mass. However, Rock lost a lot of his economy. Now Brainsteel is still thinking about a T2 PD creep, and now that Rock is moving his units back to respond to this threat in the bottom, Brainsteel can take this opportunity to move in against these PDs. It's a very even fight. In terms of scores, they're basically right on top of each other. And a lot of mass left for Rock to reclaim. And now it looks like Brainsteel is going to move in against these T2 PDs. He does have way more tanks, and then these T2 NGs making the T2 PDs are going to get killed. So one thing about PDs, they can't dodge arty. They're getting a lot of kills, but they will eventually die. We see a response from Rock. He's sending some tanks in, but if you lose these PDs, Brainsteel can walk in, and now we see a response. Rock's ACU moving into the middle. And an army for Brainsteel is just waiting for Rock to pull his forces back up. And actually Brainsteel moving his forces to his ACU. And once again, some T2 PD planned for Brainsteel. So Brainsteel successfully takes over the middle part with some PD, and now turning the corner with some arty while attacking the main base of Rock that he just rebuilt. It's a great play from Brainsteel. This PD getting 7 kills already for Brainsteel. And yet another force running through Rock's base. It's a great tank here, separated from the rest of the army by Brainsteel. If he can get it up here, take out a couple of mass extractors, and you can see this force is going to get a lot of NG kills. It's pretty devastating in terms of build capacity. So Rock will be able to put out this fire, but while that's happening, Brainsteel is just making more and more units. And we see PD that was constructed by Rock for some defense on the bottom here. It's predominantly arty force designed to take out bases. Rock's in the middle at 132 kills. There's another opportunity to make some T2 PD for Brainsteel and keep moving forward into Rock's base. And actually on the bottom it looks like Rock sent in enough units to counter all this arty, but having to pull away a lot of his army. Now Brainsteel is taking advantage. This T2 PD is going to be in range of all this power, and maybe even this T2 factory. And it looks like power might be a problem for Rock very soon. He has lost quite a bit. He has lost the top mountain. Really Rock running out of ideas. So you can see how Brain Steel, he started making T2PD, and wherever he built it, it was no longer a question that he would have it. But Rock basically had to fight with tanks. Now Rock going down to 2k health. He's gonna run away from that PD. Now Brain Steel is just finishing up, destroying Rock's base. Now we're coming up on minute 37. Rock is left with 2 power generators, which basically means he can't make much. Now it's retreating at 100 health, 155 kills, and makes it a good game. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This was a very tough battle.